Welcome to Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was a dominant area for African Americans back in the early 1900s. Black Wall Street was located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This specific area of Tulsa, Oklahoma was called the Greenwood District. Black Wall Street was also known as Little Black Africa. According to JSTOR Daily, Black Wall Street was one of the most prosperous African American communities in the United States. Also, according to Forbes magazine, between 1910 and 1920, Tulsa's population nearly quadrupled, more than 72,000 people, and the black population rose from 2,000 to 9,000, and most of the 9,000 residing in the Greenwood District, also known as Black Wall Street and Little Black Africa. By 1920, Black Wall Street had 35 business blocks. These business blocks came about during the historic oil boom. The oil boom attracted thousands of African Americans who migrated from the southern states up north. This information was listed on the Greenwood Culture Center. On that specific website, you would see the different types of businesses. So some of the businesses would be, as I researched on history.com, many businesses, it was luxury shops, movie theaters. They had an airport with black pilots. Now, all of this was black owned. Black Wall Street sometimes is not taught in history. It's not even located in your U.S. history book. Grocery stores, hotels, they had doctor's offices, lawyers' offices, also black owned, with black lawyers and black doctors. Pools were a big thing back in the early 1900s due to segregation. So even then, that was a major plus for them, having a black-owned movie theater that held over 1,000 people, and a public pool for all blacks to use and not feel segregated or unwanted for getting in the pool. They even had grocery stores. Forbes magazine stated that Black Wall Street had dominated the Oklahoma area because of its perseverance, and everything was just right there and black owned, to the point where outside of town they didn't have the same community purchasing what one little area is purchasing. So this made this town back in those times worth millions of dollars. And in those days, $1 million was a lot of money in the early 1900s due to things like inflation and the value of gold that was had back in the day in the Treasury Department. OfficialWallStreet.com stated that everything that was going so good for this one town came to a devastating end back on May 31st, and that ended on June the 1st. 35 blocks of businesses were severely burnt down at a rapid pace in a 24-hour period out of a race bigotry, is what I would call it. It was due to a racist plot against African Americans. On May 31st, the Tulsa Tribune reported that a man named Dick Rowland attempted to rape a white woman named Miss Sarah Page. Whites in the community did not even let the investigation get thoroughly investigated. As soon as they caught whiff of the news, they rode in like thieves of the night and burnt this town down back here on May 31st, 1921. The whole burning took about 24 hours. That's all it took to burn down a complete city. It went from that morning, I believe, 8:03 a.m. it was reported in the newspaper till the next day, which was June 1st. Everything was burned down, killing 300 African American men and women and injuring 800. No buildings were left, no homes were left. It was like a thief in the night, came through the town, burnt down the town. And that was the news of Black Wall Street. Life always presents trying times. I believe life presents trying times, and sometimes you just have to pick up and move forward. Something like that can ruin a lifetime of dreams by one person's mistake, even though they did not say if Mr. Dick wrote, we didn't have a chance to get that part of history to see if he was guilty or non-guilty. Like I said, the whites back then in that time, as soon as they got the information, they ran with that information. So with that being said, the area, years later, the area was rebuilt, but by then segregation was like over. Everything was kind of desegregated. Blacks were able to get good industrial jobs and move forward with their lives. Reflecting on history is such a joy because you never know what you'll miss.